Today we're trying to win in Standard with 52 Surveil ads. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and today we're playing 52 Surveil ads in Standard. In this deck, it is absolutely absurd. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Zombie Hunt. It's like the most expensive Zombie Hunt deck ever because it plays like Zombie Hunt, but instead of playing a bunch of janky cheap lands, you gotta play a bunch of super expensive Surveil lands. But the idea of this deck is absolutely ridiculous, so let's talk about why we're playing 52 Surveil lands, jump into some games and see if it's even possible to win with this deck. So to talk about this deck, we gotta start with the mana base, which is literally 52 Surveil lands. We are playing quite literally every Surveil land that exists in Standard. If there was one less Surveil land in Standard, like let's say Wizards didn't print Hidden Grotto in Bloomburrow, this deck just wouldn't work because we need every single land to be a Surveil land. So we have all the MKM dual lands. We have Hidden Grotto, Conduit Pinelands. Arid Archway needs a little help to be a Surveil land. We got to pick up a desert. Normally it's not a problem, but that gives us 52 Surveil lands. So why are we playing 52 Surveil lands? To understand this, we need to talk about our two non-Surveil land cards, which are Head Shredder and Iridescent Vine Lasher. So Head Shredder is a 4-mana vehicle that can attack to mill 2 cards and cruise for 1, but the big deal is when one or more lands are put into our graveyard from our library, we put them on the battlefield tapped. And then Iridescent Vine Lasher is a 1-mana 1/2. We can offspring it for 2 to make a little baby Vine Lasher, and it has landfall when a land enters under our control. It deals 1 damage to target opponent. So the idea of this deck is we mulligan until we find a Head Shredder, then we play our lands, we play the Head Shredder, and then hopefully we play an Iridescent Vine Lasher too, although Head Shredder can help find the Iridescent Vine Lasher, but we play the Head Shredder, then we play a Surveil land. And since our mana base is 52 Surveil lands, when we Surveil, we are either going to hit another Surveil land, or we're going to hit a Head Shredder or Iridescent Vine Lasher, which are kind of whiffs a lot of the time. But let's say we hit another Surveil land, we Surveil the land into the graveyard, we get it back into play thanks to Head Shredder, and then we do it again, and then we do it again, and then we do it again. Ideally, as we're doing this, we have an Iridescent Vine Lasher, maybe with a baby on the battlefield. So each time we put a land into play, our opponent's taking 1 or 2 damage, and then we just hope that we don't hit a Head Shredder or Iridescent Vine Lasher on the top of our deck, and we keep hitting Surveil lands until our opponent's life total hits 0. If we do fizzle, and our Head Shredder is not summoning sick, we know we screw it up with the Vine Lasher, attack not so much to get in for 5 damage, but to mill 2 more cards, which will hopefully be 2 more Surveil lands to start the chain over, to mill some cards and Surveil some lands to get damage with Vine Lasher, and that is 52 Surveil lands. The plan's ridiculous, the deck is absurd. Can it actually work? Let's jump into some games and find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy the absurdity of 52 Surveil lands, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. Against the odds time, we are trying to win in Standard with 52 oh, this is the nut draw. This is the nut draw. 52 Surveil lands. We got the Head Shredder. We got the Vine Lasher. This is literally the best draw we can hope for. Okay, let's see if this ridiculous plan can work. About it. Or Surveil. Well, guess what? We're going to play a Surveil land. We're going to Surveil away a land. So we need to resolve Head Shredder. We need to resolve Vine Lasher. And now we need to play a Surveil land, and then we pray to the Magic Gods. Opponent, Overlord of the Bailmark, can do a little milling, so some sort of graveyardy deck. Well, Surveil land, imagine that. Mill the Head Shredder. So not the Head Shredder, mill the Surveil land. So the question's gonna be, how do we, ooh, another Vine Lasher. Okay, that makes it easier. The question is, how do we sequence our cards? Now that we have 2 Vine Lashers, I think next turn we play the Vine Lasher. If it dies, we can Vine Lasher again next turn. If it doesn't die, we can get down the Head Shredder. All right, well, Vine Lasher. Kick it. Opponent says good game. I guess Vine Lasher unbeatable. Opponent gonna cut down. I feel like winning with a single Vine Lash is gonna be tough. That means we need 20 Surveil lands in a row in our deck. Or 19, I guess, at this point. But that's a big ask. Oh, opponent. Liana. So now the question is, do we play another Vine Lash or do we play the Head Shredder? Opponent gonna unimpend. I think we're just gonna Vine Lash again. Vine Lash. Play the Surveil land, ping it down to 17. And then we trust that next turn, assuming our Vine Lashes live, that we win the game. That we win the game on the spot. That's the idea. Opponent gonna take out the Lily. Sure, we will discard. Really doesn't matter. A Surveil land. Opponent discards Valgavoth. Okay, that's an issue. Well, here goes nothing. Hedge Shredder. So opponent's at 17. We need 9 Surveil lands in a row if both Vine Lashers live. All right, Surveil land. Ping ya. And okay. Surveil land, put it to the graveyard. Head Shredder, put it into play. So there's 1. Vine Lash ya. Come on. Okay, 2. We're getting there. Opponent's down to 13. Opponent's down to 11. 6 more. 6 more, and we have what? 5? Oh, 5 whiffs in the deck, including that Vine Lash. We can try again next turn. With even less whiffs in our deck. We got the Surveil land. We got the Head Shredder still. Opponents. Oh no. Zombify the Valgavoth. Does this beat us? I mean, if we just combo through it. Opponent. All right, gonna take down. That's fine. We got another Vine Lasher on the top of our deck, so we're gonna have plenty of Vine Lashers. We gotta win this turn though, or else we're never gonna win once our opponent gains 9 off Valgavoth. Like that's not happening. Opponent hits us down to 15. Well, okay. Vine Lash with a baby, and the Surveil land. And, well, okay. We only technically need 4 Surveil lands. That's not that many. But, oh, right. Valgavoth's not just things from the battlefield. It's anything in the graveyard. Okay, yeah, we cannot beat Valgavoth. Oh, man, we were so close. That's good news, though. That means this is possible. We are trying to win with 52 Surveil lands. Okay, so the theory of this deck, if for some reason you decide to try this deck, which if you're trying to win, I probably wouldn't recommend, although who knows, maybe it'll be a dream instead of a meme. But it's a little bit like Zombie Hunt in that you really need to mulligan into a Head Shredder. Do not keep a hand without Head Shredder. You keep a hand without Vine Lash, that's fine, because Head Shredder can find the Vine Lash, but do not keep a hand without Head Shredder, because remember, we got 52 Surveil lands. So if you keep a hand without Head Shredder, the odds of drawing one is not very high. Well, let's keep milling. And then I think, assuming you have the mana to cast stuff, which is double green and black, I think we pretty much just always Surveil to the graveyard to try to find the Vine Lasher or more Head Shredders. Opponent appears to be demurring. I don't know how this goes. Opponent passing. Well, let's just play another Surveil land. We could run out the... Ooh, there's the Vine Lash. Okay. Okay, there's hope. We could run out the Head Shredder, although I think waiting and playing it and making a Surveil land in the same turn makes the most sense. We're also up against Demir with a ton of mana open, which makes me feel like just going for it is not the best. Let's start with an Iridescent Vine Lasher. One thing I'm not sure of with this deck yet is if you have the choice, do you Head Shredder into Vine Lasher, or do you Vine Lasher into Head Shredder? All right, well, I'm gonna cut down one of the Vine Lashers. The reason to play Vine Lasher first, props Eidetic Memory, is curve, basically, right? 3 into 4. That's the biggest argument. The reason to play Head Shredder first is you can actually attack with it to mill some cards to start the loop over again if we fizzle. Well, all right. I mean, we got a shot. Unlikely with only 1 Vine Lasher, but 20 Surveil lands in a row. Let's do it. Surveil land number 1. Mill it. It's a Surveil land. Head Shredder gonna put it back into play. If we have 20 Surveil lands in a row, and remember, there's only, what, 5 non-Surveil lands in our deck at this point? If there's 20 in a row, we just win here. Well, let's keep it going. Number 2? Okay, Shadowy Backstreet, that's good. So in theory, this chain ends with us finding either a Head Shredder or a Vine Lasher. We'd prefer a Vine Lasher, so then next turn we can combo again. All right, opponent is going to deal with this, sure. Interestingly, they bounced the Vine Lash instead of the Head Shredder. Well, okay. We can try again next turn, and we can play the second head shredder. Are we getting there against Amir? Is this is this actually possible? We're gonna be like the best deck in standard. Storm Taster's talent with 52 Surveil lands. Bonnet, props eidetic memory, sure. Sure. Certainly. Bonnet gonna draw a card. And grow their otter. Well, I mean, we got a plan, which is we're gonna make a Vine Lasher with a baby. And please. All right. And then I think we just head shred. There's not really any reason not to play the second head shredder I can think of. And then if our opponent bounces one, at least we still have another one. Well, here we go. We need 9. Assuming the Vine Lashers live, 9 Surveil lands. That seems realistic. Ping ya. Top card is Surveil land. Good. 8. Now we need 8. 8 is doable. 8 is doable. We might be able to win here, opponent. Ping ya. Come on, deck. Surveil land, yes, all right. Surveil land to the graveyard. Put it into play. Opponent's down to 14, down to 12. Is it happening? Is this the 52 Surveil land win? This deck is actually very scary to play because even though mathematically there's 5 whiffs out of like 40-some cards, so it's like 10% chance we hit one of the Vine Lashers or Head Shredders and fizzle. It's not a very high percent chance, but it exists. And if we just hit a Head Shredder or something, the whole thing falls apart. Ugh. All right, opponent's gonna bounce one of our tokens, but we can crew the Head Shredder in response. Well, this means we need 12 in a row. Although the Head Shredder helps, right? Because that's, once we whiff, Head Shredder attacks, mills 2. That gives us 2 more shots to Surveil lands to start the chain again. Well, ping ya, down to 10. All right, Surveil land, good. Or maybe we just have 12 in a row. That is not impossible, not likely, but. All right, Lush Portico, that's a Surveil land, opponent, down to 8. Hold. Can we see a Surveil land? Yes, Thundering Falls, down to 7. Wait, are we gonna go all the way? I think mathematically hitting 12 in a row. All right, there's a Vine Lash. We're gonna attack with the Head Shredder. So we mill the Vine Lash. This is why getting Head Shredder down, This is why getting Head Shredder down first is important, right? Maybe that's the best way to do it. Mill, 2 Surveil lands. So now we get this chain going again. This time we get 2 chances though, so we can whiff once and still go. Pick up the desert to get the Surveil at Archway. All right, opponent, down to 5, down to 4. Oh, this should actually work. We'd have to get pretty unlucky. Oh, okay, there goes our 1 whiff. 4 in a row. There's 1. Oh, we have to get unlucky to lose at this point. Vine Lash, ping ya. Surveil land, good. 2 more. 2 more for the 52 Surveil land win. 1 more. All right, Magic Gods, don't betray us now. 1 more. Yes. And that's how you win with 52 Surveil lands. Well, it's possible. It is possible. How likely? We'll have to figure that out as we go along, but we know you can do it. We know you can do it, and we're even ranking up. We are, okay, Head Shredder in hand, that's good. We're playing 52 Surveil lands. The new hotness of Standard. So, not exactly, but a bonus. Temple of Plenty. It's always funny when I see people play temples. I mean, I wonder why. Is it like a budget choice? But all rares cost the same. So if you're spending a wild card, you could get like a Surveil land or something instead of a Scry land. I don't know. I don't know why people still play them. Unless they come in like the new player decks. I didn't look at that. They might come in like the new player cards, and that would make sense. Opponent seems to be some sort of Caretaker's Talent. Okay, some sort of green-white token deck by the looks with Up the Beanstalk. Well, do we run out Head Shredder? I think we do. One of the things to look for in this deck is an untapped land is really helpful. Most of our Surveil lands are going to be tapped, but there's 2 Surveil lands that are untapped, and being able to get down Head Shredder, all right, just Caretaker's Talent. Well, so we don't win this turn because we don't have the Vine Lash, but in theory, we can Surveil a bunch of lands into play and hopefully find a Vine Lash. So, Surveil land, mill, Head Shredder, put it into play, and do it again. So in theory, this will stop with ideally a Vine Lash, or perhaps, do we not have a desert? That's awkward. You can't pick up Archway to itself and still get the ooh. All right. Well, I guess that is a way that we can fizzle, is the arid Archway if we don't have a desert. That's kind of unfortunate. All right, well, the chain did not stop with a Vine Lash. It stopped with a arid Archway. The funny thing about this deck is there are exactly Soul Partition. All right, that's fine. We have so much mana we can easily recast it. If that's our opponent's removal, that's good news for us. Well, let's do some more head shredding. This time we will get down a desert, so future arid Archways will not be a problem. Do a little surveilling and put the land into play. We just gotta find the Vine Lash. We just gotta find the Vine Lash. So as you're evaluating hands with this deck, because really, the deck's going to try to do the same thing every game. So the biggest choice you make, there's two choices with this deck. Do you play Head Shredder first? Do you play Vine Lasher first? And do you keep your opening hand? Your opening hand is like the biggest decision. Number one, you got to have Head Shredder. Mill all the way down to 6 to find a, or all the way down to 1 to find a Head Shredder. Like, you just got to have it. All right, well, the chain ends with another Head Shredder, which not as good as Vine Lash, but a backup is fine. Eventually, we will surveil our way into a Vine Lash. Theoretically, like, they're somewhere in the deck. So number one, do I have a Head Shredder, yes or no? If no, mulligan to find the Head Shredder. Number two is, what colors of mana do my lands make? You need 2 green sources for Head Shredder. You need 1 black source for Vine Lash. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, do I have any untapped lands? So that's what you're evaluating this. Head Shredder number 1. The correct mana to cast our spells number 2, and then do I have an untapped land number 3? You don't mulligan for an untapped land, that would be ridiculous, but it is a nice bonus. If you mull to 5 and you're choosing what lands to keep, double green, single black, untapped, that's kind of the hierarchy. Man, we are hitting a lot. Where's our Vine Lasher? We are down to 30 cards in our deck. Wow. Man, can you imagine if we just had a dang Vine Lasher on the battlefield? We would have won 10 minutes. My God. This is getting mathematically unlikely. Again! Wait. Holy lands. Oh my God, again. I guess, is there a risk that all of our Vine Lashers are on the very bottom and we don't have enough lands left to win? That would be the most ridiculous way to lose. We're down to 24 cards in our deck. Oh my, another one, 23. How many lands have we put into play here? Look at the middle. Oh no, we're gonna put like 15 lands. Oh my God, it's still going. Yeah, okay, 21 cards. Where's the Vine Lash? Finally, okay. First Vine Lash, 40 cards down. Well, play another Head Shredder. Hopefully this Vine Lash wins us the game next turn. Although, now there's a lot of whiffs. We have 20 cards. Opponent loves their Soul Partitions. 20 cards in 5 whiffs. So that's like, ooh, the math is not actually great here for us winning this turn. We could, though. We could get lucky. Opponent's at 20. I guess we might as well keep playing the head. I don't see a reason not to. Run it out. Well, okay. Surveil land. Ping ya, ping ya. This time we actually get to deal damage, at least. And, okay, 1. We need 10 in a row, which is probably impossible with a current composition of our deck, but down to 16. Surveil land, good, good. Down to 14. We also have just an absurd amount of mana. We can't really do anything with it. Okay, another. Wow, are we actually just... Now we want all the Vine Lashers to be at the bottom of the deck. Last turn we wanted them at the top. This turn we want them at the bottom. Okay, another one. If they're all at the bottom, we could just win right now. It is possible. Opponent's down to 10. We need 5 more. 5 more. 5 more Surveil lands. Okay, 1. 4 more. 4 more Surveil lands. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? Bang ya. Bang ya. 8. Okay, wait, is this happening? Wow, all of our non-lands are in the... Hold. Surveil land. Surveil land. Opponent's down to 6. 3 more. Okay, 2. Wow. I can't believe how many lands we've hit in a row. Even with 52... Oh my God, okay. Wait, 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. 1 more. Hold. Come on, 1 more Surveil land. Oh no. No. Well, we're fine, because we get to crew the Head Shredder. We almost did it naturally, though. This Head Shredder, unless we mill 2 non-lands, which would be very unlucky, should just be game. I mean, I guess attacking is also game, but... well, it's not as cool to win by combat damage. All right, opponent, Elspeth Smite. We mill the lands, don't need the combat damage, and... Well... 52 Surveil lands. Gets the job done somehow. This deck is so hilarious. When it works, it is super funny, but there are a lot of ways things can theoretically go wrong. That is the downside of playing 52 Surveil lands. If things go wrong and you lose your non-lands, it's tough, don't it? Schwamp. And, oh, all right. Well, example one. I have learned this from playing Zombie Hunt. When you're playing a deck that has to mulligan into a specific card, and then you get hit by discard and lose that card, you probably lose the game. We are probably dead here. Not only do we need to find a head shredder, which there are 3 of out of like 50 cards, we also need another green source to be able to cast the head shredder. We need a lot to go right here. Well, Arid Archway is neither a head shredder or a green source. The conduit pylons can make green eventually, so that's one of the two. I think keeping a hand with only one green source, ooh, Unholy Annex. Only one green source is fine because our deck's all land, so we should be able to surveil into another one. Well, there's the green mana. If we can find a head shredder, there is still hope. I'm not feeling great about it. Man, that duress was absolutely brutal. Well, that's one way to lose with this deck. Get hit by the early discard spell, and most hands are not going to be able to recover. Liliana. I don't know how much we care about Liliana, honestly. Even if Liliana ultimates, we might still have enough lands to combo if we find our combo pieces, but I think we're probably dead for a million other reasons. Bone it. Unholy Annex draws a card. Well, there's more conduit pylons. Yeah, let's play the Parlor and mill a land. So many Surveil lands. So many Surveil lands. At least our opponent doesn't currently have a demon for the Unholy Annex. You know what would be really funny is if we do not cast this spell this entire game and they lose Unholy Annex. The odds of that are incredibly low, especially with the Creed. Well, all right, there's the Archfiend. Well, now our opponent goes from no clock to an incredibly fast clock. Well, Conduit Pylon. Mill the Underset. Maybe we should have just scooped to the turn 1 duress, honestly. The odds are so low, but we could hit the head shredder, right? It's possible. The math is not in our favor, but it could happen. Well, that duress not going to be as effective. I think we're just dead. Even if we draw the head shredder, I think we just die before we can. So once we draw head shredder, we need at least one more turn to find the Vine Lash. Ooh, double Annex. So now we're definitely dead. Because now we take 4 down to 8. And then we just, yeah, we don't have removal, so it's not like we can kill this Archfiend. Yeah, even if we draw head shredder, we're still actually just straight up dead here. Opponent drains us. I mean, I guess we can see if we draw it. Yeah, all right. Well, okay. Duress on turn 1, not good for this deck. Add that to the list of ways we can lose. Against the odds time. Ugh. All right, we can't keep this. No head shredder. All right, well, no anything. Just a bunch of, okay. There's Surveil lands and a head shredder. So we want to keep double green black and an untapped land. Oh, also, when I was talking about the lands you want to keep, Conduit Pylon's better than the other untapped land because of Arid Archway. So another little thing for our land tier list for this deck. Opponent. No, not discard. Okay. Golgari, but no duress is good. I mean, this hand has, theoretically, everything we need to win. The question is, so here's the question. I've come to believe, as I've been playing this deck, that you want to play Head Shredder first. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but what I've realized about this deck is if you don't have a non-summoning sick Head Shredder and you go Vine Lasher into Head Shredder and start to combo, the odds of hitting enough lands in a row to kill your opponent from 20, not super great. I think it's like 25%, something like that, depending on exactly what your draw is, but like not super great. On the other hand, if you have a Head Shredder that can attack, then the odds go way up because you get those 2 extra mills. Garrick's Uprising. So I think we're going to play Head Shredder first. We're going to play, I think, the Head Shredder first, and then next turn we'll Vine Lasher and hopefully win the game. The downside of this, the other reason to play Head Shredder differently is we can Head Shredder, wait into 5 mana, immediately make a land drop, trigger it, so at least we're going to find another Head Shredder or Vine Lasher, even... Oh. All right, well, the downside of this plan is it leaves Head Shredder on the battlefield for a turn. When it can get Tranquil Frillbacked. Ooh, okay, well now we just need another... all right. I didn't even have time to ask. Another Head Shredder is what I was going to say. Okay, well, we're back on course. And this time, we get to get some value out of this Head Shredder. Do a little rampant, Surveil to the graveyard. So what do we want to end with here? Actually, probably a Head Shredder. I think another Head Shredder would be better than a Vine Lasher this time. Because we already have a Vine Lasher, and we know our opponent's playing main deck enchant or artifact removal because we saw the frill back. Well, we're going to make some manas. Eventually, we will find a non-land, Condo Pylons, mill it, ramp it. The other thing I wonder about this deck, is there any way we could take advantage of all this mana that we're making? The problem is if you start playing non-Surveil lands, the combo fizzles, like fizzles. It already fizzles sometimes, even with just 8 non-lands and 52 Surveil lands. Well, I mean, we're gonna have like 20 mana. I don't know what we do with it. Okay, there's a Vine Lash. All right, well, if our Head Shredder lives, odds of winning next turn are very high. Because we're gonna have 4 Vine Lashes, so we only need to hit 5 lands to win. Come on now. All right, well, we already saw Duress is a way we can lose. The discard to take the Head Shredder. Way number 2 is apparently your opponent killing Head Shredder a bunch. So should we have done this the other way? The funny thing is, if we had played oppositely this game, which is exactly what I was saying I thought you shouldn't do with this deck, but if we just run out Vine Lasher and then played Head Shredder and tried to combo the turn that we played the Head Shredder, we might have won, or at least we would have, Shieldred, at least we would have gotten further. Although, we don't know our opponent's hand. They quite possibly have a bunch of creature removal that could have killed the Vine Lashers anyway. Pound it hits us. Ugh. So we drop to 9. Yeah, now this is rough. I guess we technically get one more draw. Because we got the Vine Lash in hand, if we hit the Head Shredder, we could just win on the spot. But we gotta play a Vine Lasher. We can't play the second one, or else we're never gonna combo. In theory, if our opponent doesn't fire up the creature land or have removal, we can block enough to stay alive one more turn and get one more draw for the Head Shredder. In practice, I expect our opponent's gonna win here. Yeah, double Tranquil. We got lucky. Yeah, there's a removal spell. We got lucky to draw a double Head Shredder, but our opponent had the double answer. All right, well, no discard, no frillbacks. We're getting a good list of things we want to avoid with this deck. Yeah. Cannot keep that one. No Head Shredder. So you can't keep a hand with just Vine Lash. Like, really, don't keep a hand unless it has Head Shredder. I know I said that before, but it is very important. Opponent. Meticulous Archive. The other funny thing about this deck, it is essentially like Zombie Hunt in the sense that you mulligan to find a specific card, and you're playing an absurd amount of lands to make the combo work. Like, Zombie Hunt, right? Treasure Hunt, Zombie Infestation. Basically the same setup where you have 4 Treasure Hunts, couple of Zombie Infestations, mulligan for the Treasure Hunt, try to do the thing. This is almost exactly the same as far as its play pattern, except it's in Standard. But the other downside of this deck is it's like the most expensive Zombie Hunt of all time, because one of the upsides of Zombie Hunt is you can just play a bunch of super cheap, like, basic lands. The lands don't really matter outside. You need Reliquary Towers. Other than Reliquary Tower, though, you can just play whatever lands. This is like Zombie Hunt, except you need to buy 40 Surveil lands, which is actually ridiculously expensive. So it's like Zombie Hunt that costs, if Zombie Hunt was the most expensive deck in Standard, this deck's almost $600. So you could actually just go out and buy a top tier deck for the same pro. No, it's an Omniscience deck. If our opponent gets an Omniscience in the graveyard and can reanimate it and has Invasion of Anchovies or whatever it is, then they do just combo kill. We don't have a way to interact with it. So basically, we just got to combo kill first. Can we be fast enough? So far, no Omniscience in the graveyard is good news. Big Lock Prankster. Sure. Well, I think it's time to shred some hedges. Having 2 of them is not bad. Not only does it give us a backup in case of removal, but it's 1 less Head Shredder in our deck. The more Head Shredders and Vine Lashers that are not in our deck, the more damage we get when the combo goes before we fizzle. Opponent does some milling. Still no Omniscience, which is very good news. That means we're not going to die this turn. Although, I imagine we really need to draw. We need to draw the Vine Lash very quickly. Like, within a couple turns, our opponent's going to do the thing. Their deck is very well, Chart of Course, It's very well set up to find its pieces. There's the Omniscience. All right, this is a turn. Vine Lash, Magic Gods. Vine Lash off the top. We got a solid, like, 2% chance to top deck it. Maybe 3, might be 3%. Opponent runs out the Prankster. Hits us, and Vine Lash. Wow. Okay. Ask and you shall receive. Well, hopefully, let's see if this is enough. Opponent's at 20. We have the non-summoning sick head shredder. We got the offspring, so we got 2 vine lashers. We need 10 lands to enter the battlefield. 10 Surveil lands. Number 1, opponent. Oh God, we fizzle immediately. Oh, too many vine lashers. We wanted the vine lasher, but that's a bit extreme. Well, okay. That was not what we were hoping for, but we still got the head shredder to mill 2. And if we hit 2 Surveil lands, we should have it. Head shredder, mill 2. All right, double Surveil land. So this means we can get through 1 whiff. We can get through 1 whiff. Our opponent's at 14. We need 7 lands. We can whiff once. So we need 7 of our top 8 to be Surveil lands in our 50. God dang it. All right. Well, there goes our 1 whiff. Now we need 7 in a row. 7 in a row. There's 1. Come on. Come on. Well, mathematically, I feel like this should work. Opponent down to 12. All right. It's a Surveil land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's only 3 whiffs left in our deck out of 40 cards. I feel like the math is in our favor right now. I feel like the math is in our favor since we got so many vine lashers and head shredders out of the deck. Well, ping you, down to 10. Surveil land, okay. Opponent's down to 8. 4 in a row. The scary thing is, if we fizzle here, I imagine we die. Like, if our opponent has the reanimation, the omniscient... Betrayed by math. Oh, that was not even like a long shot combo. That was one where the math was very good. I guess we don't know that they have reanimation, right? We don't know that they have it. If they don't have reanimation for omniscience, then we do get enough. Okay, we won't scoop. We'll mill the vine lash. Oh, that one hurts. Some of them where you got like 1 vine lash and your opponent's at 20, you're like, okay, mathematically, I probably shouldn't win here, but I'm going to try to get lucky. This time, I feel like mathematically, we should have won. We found another way we can lose. Early discard, done. Interaction with our head shredders or our creatures, not good. And now, straight up fizzling. There's the omniscience. Well, they need the invasion. Another omniscience. If they have the invasion, then they win. Like, then we just scoop, because that is deterministically the game. If they don't have it, hell, that would be a miracle, but yeah, it could happen. Could happen. All right, there's the anchovies. Well, yeah, that one was brutal. That's what I feel like we should have won, but the magic gods, gotta trust the magic gods, and sometimes they betray you. We are playing 52 Surveil lands. All right, there's our head shredder. So we need to keep what? Green, black. I guess we just put Arid Archway to the bottom. On the other end of the land scale, Arid Archway is our worst land. It's our one land that isn't guaranteed to surveil. It only surveils if we have another desert on the battlefield, which means most of the time it's going to surveil, but in theory, we could whiff with an Arid Archway. We actually did once already. That's the funny thing about this deck is you need exactly every single surveil land that exists in Standard. Like, if Wizards did not print conduit pylons or like any single surveil land, then this deck would not exist. It needs literally every single one that you can play for the math to work. About it. Playing some Boros by the looks. Well, let's play a surveil land. Well, there's a Vine Lash. Okay, this hand is actually looking pretty good. Oh, and our opponent's missing a land drop? Maybe? Okay, all will be one. Well, let's play the surveil land. We'll keep a Vine Lash, play the head shredder. All right, I mean, we might be able to win next turn. We might. Opponent, ooh, finds the land. Blue manas. Can you deal with a head shredder? Well, Vine Lasher and a baby. And we have the non-summoning sick head shredder, so if our opponent can't interact with this, hopefully we win here. All right, surveil land. Ping ya. And flick a coin. All right, well, we get to crew the head shredder. Well, this makes it tough, though. This is going to make it tough to win this turn. Thankfully, we have another Vine Lash for next turn. Not impossible. So opponent's at 18. Yeah, I don't know how this goes. We just got to trust the magic gods. You never know. You never know. Sometimes they betray us. Sometimes they come through. So opponent goes to 18. And surveil land, 17. Remember, we get the 2 mills with the head shredder, too. 17 land sounds like a lot, though. All right, 16. The number's getting smaller, little by little. I guess it's actually much lower than that, too, right? Because we get 5 damage from the head shredder. So we actually only need 11 lands to win. All right, 10 lands, 10 more to go. Although it'd be more fun if we just straight up win with the combo rather than attacking. Down to 15. Oh, if they can kill the other Vine Lash, that would, well, all right. So mill the Vine Lash. All right, there's the fizzle. Thankfully, we still got Mr. Hedgie here. You didn't hit ya. Mill some cards. Thank you, opponent. It is indeed nice. I don't know if our win percentage is nice, but it is nice when it works. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, opponent. No comboing for us this turn, or no win for us. We comboed, we just didn't win. Yeah, Forest Dismissal, that treasure, that flick a coin. I don't know what our opponent's trying to do. Flick a coin, all will be one of Forest Dispersal. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have milled there. That might have been wrong to mill because we don't get the cards back. I guess it's random anyway. Opponent. The nice thing, ooh, ill-timed explosion. Well, that's fine. That leaves our opponent tapped out. So the nice thing about next turn is we got enough mana to Vine Lasher and Head Shredder and start the combo. The bad news is our Head Shredder's not going to be able to attack. So we're just going to have to straight up burn him out if we're going to win next turn, which means 7. We need 7 lands in a row because we got 1 in hand. Opponent goes to 13. Yeah, we need 7 Surveil lands in a row, which might be fine. There's only 5 whiffs in the deck. I mean, I imagine our opponent's killing this. If they don't kill this Vine Lash and they just draw the cards, then life is very easy. Opponent, yep, discards. Well, here goes nothing. So, Head Shredder. I guess the order doesn't really matter. Head Shredder and Vine Lasher. And, well, let's start the party. Surveil land. Bang ya. All right, 7 lands in a row. Let's do it. 1. Down it. Down to 11. This deck is so scary. Come on. 2. All right, 5 more. 5 more. Only 5. We only need 5 magic gods. The countdown, hopefully on. 4. Yes. Man, if we fizzle and get the heartbreak loss here, I'm gonna be so sad. Found it, down to 7. Okay, 3 more. Only 3 more lands needed. Found it, down to 5. Oh, if we get him to 1 and then whiff, I'm gonna cry. Found it, down to 3. Hold, magic gods. All right, opponent's at 1. We need 1 more land to win the game. 1 more land. Is it a Surveil land on the top of our deck? Big, and got there. Whew. All right, well, it took 2 turns because of our opponent's interaction, but 52 Surveil lands, coming off. What a ridiculous idea for a deck. I mean, it kind of works. It does kind of work. I guess we'll see our record at the end. I imagine, oh God, okay. Well, let's see if we can win on a mull to 4. We do get to keep double green black. The deck mulligans incredibly well. As long as we had our opponents, wow, celebrating with their emotes. Oh, I really want to win now. Our opponent's celebrating our mull to 4. Okay. Well, opponent. Little do you know, we only need 4 cards to win with our Head Shredder. Well, Hedge Maze and mill land. So next up, we need the Vine Lash. Demurring. Well, Arid Archway not super helpful here. Undercity Sewers. Blood Pit's Drowner. Yep. And, all right, gonna play a land. Get in and hit us. Oh, there's a Vine Lash. Okay. Ooh, so now we're gonna have the age-old choice. Definitely get rid of Arid Archway. We have the age-old choice. Do we run out the Vine Lasher next turn? Into the Head Shredder the following turn? Do we wait and try to Head Shredder first so we can attack with it? That is like the decision point of this deck. Thankfully, Demir, well, this town. I was gonna say you shouldn't be good at interacting with Head Shredder, but this town interacts with anything. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have the Vine Lash. We're gonna go for the gold. See if we can just steal the win next turn. Well, Vine Lasher, make a baby. Surveil it. Bang ya. And opponent. All right, this time. Well, okay. At least they bounced the non-token. Oh, I see. Actually, wait, isn't that even worse? All right, well, I mean, we're fine with this. Opponent bounced the non-token one, which means we get another shot at it. I think our opponent would have been better off killing the non-token one and then bouncing the token, and then we would have no Vine Lashers, but I will accept a Vine Lasher, because if we don't have that, we're in a bit of trouble. I mean, I guess now we I guess now we play the head shredder and try to do it that way. Our opponent can still this town it. All right, flood pits drowner, sure, whatever. Well, let's play a hedge maze. Do a little combo, just a little mini combo. Mill a land, get a surveil land, find a surveil land, mill a surveil land. So what do we want? Do we want a head shredder or a vine lasher here? I'm not even sure. I guess either one is kind of fine. Well, mill a surveil land. Okay, we don't want to use, all right, mill a surveil land. We don't really want to use all of our lands now. We'd rather just find an on land and then wait until next turn to do all this, because if we had a vine lash, oh my God, so many lands in a row. If we could add the vine lash down, we'd just be, I think we would have just won. I think we've hit enough lands that we would have, just straight up killed our opponent. All right, another head shredder. Well, we get to try again next turn. Maybe. Opponent, land. Only 2 cards in hand. Man, beating the best deck in standard with 52 surveil lands, that would be an accomplishment. Well, there's a head shredder. Let's play the second head shredder first. I don't know if our opponent has counters or something. Maybe they bite at it. I don't know why they would, but we might as well run it out and see. Plus, having a redundancy is not a bad thing because of this town. Well, all right, vine lash with a baby. And can we win by playing a single elegant Poller? That's what we're about to find out. Opponent. No, not more removal. Opponent. You got chill with that removal. Well, let's play a Poller. This town's such a blowout here. This town. All right, opponent, yeah. Opponent realized their mistake last time. They're going to bounce the token. Pick up to this town. I guess we might as well crew. It'd be sweet if they targeted the head shredder. All right, nowhere to run. And opponent, gonna kill the vine lash. Okay, well, now we gotta hope we surveil into another vine lash. And then we can try again next turn. Well, mill. Okay, we really would like to find the vine lash in the near future. Oh no. I always have this fear in the back of my head that we're gonna run out of cards. Oh, it's a head shredder. All right, well, head shredder going to the graveyard. I guess we might as well attack. Get a surveil land. Did not mill a vine lash, so that's good. Get to start the process over again. So we're just gonna do this till we find the vine lash and hope that our opponent's finally out of ways to interact. All right, Arid Archway to the graveyard. Pick up a desert and Thundering Falls. Man, we are milling a lot of lands. Ooh, we're milling so many. I mean, it's good because we're getting them into play, but I'm just worried. I'm worried that we're going to finally find the vine lash and not have enough lands left to kill our opponent. Because we're not going to, oh boy, another land. We're not going to kill them by attacking, I don't think. Well, another surveil land. Uh-huh, sure. Yeah, Raccoon Theater, Undercity Sewers. Yeah, put it into play. Can we find it? God, Shadowy Backstreet, can we please? please find a vine lash. Archway, sure. Pick up a desert, which is gonna be, we don't care about the mana. We'll pick up an Arid Art. Normally you don't want to bounce your own bounce lands, but we have more mana than we could ever use in a million lifetimes with this deck. All we have to spend mana on is head shredder and, oh man, oh no. Wow, another one. Oh. We are getting very low on cards. Where in the world are, oh no, where are our vine lashes? Where are our vine lashes? Mill. We have 15 cards left. Okay, 15. We need 8 lands to win the game. Wow, this is going to be close. This is going to be very close. Oh, wait, our opponent took the damage. Okay, that means we need less lands to win the game. That makes me feel a little better about this. Opponent land. We also were dying to these flood pit drowners. We die next turn. Well, we needed to work this turn. Well, Vine Lasher with a baby. So with double Vine Lasher, we should be fine. We only need, oh no. With one Vine Lasher, I don't know if we're fine. Because our opponent can block the head shredders. We have 14 cards. We need 11 lands. Actually, I think we might have just enough. Oh, this is going to be so... We should be able to mill our entire deck here. I think. We got Vine Lash. Okay. Oh, there goes the Head Shredder. Well, yeah, opponents at 9. Crew and Crew go attacking. Where they're going to just have enough or just be short. Okay, there goes a Vine Lasher. 1 Surveil land. Paying it to 8. Yeah, Surveil it. And we still get another Head Shredder trigger. So I think we mill our deck before we even deal combat damage. 1 to 7. All right, there goes a Vine Lash. Is that our last? Hopefully that's our last non-land. I think that's our last non-land. Ping ya. Down to 7, 6, 5. Surveil land. Down to 4. We have 5 cards in our deck. Okay, I think we're... I think we're going to beat the best deck in Standard. Or one of them. With 1 card left in our library. Opponent down to 3. The rest of our cards are all Surveil lands. Opponent down to 2. Opponent down to 1. And our opponent even had the disruption that game. They had the removal. They had the this town. But in the end, Demir, Enchantress, can't beat 52 Surveil lands. Best deck in Standard. And that was the opponent that was emoting our Moldifor too, making it even more satisfying. So what do we learn this week about 52 Surveil lands in Standard? And record-wise, we won exactly 15% of the time. So a little bit less than 1 in every 5 matches. And I will say that record is probably about right for the deck. It's a deck that, when it works, it's absolutely hilarious. Like... And it's actually pretty fun to play, because if you assemble the combo and you start doing the little Surveil loop, you never know what your top card's going to be. If you have a big chain of lands, you can just win the game on the spot. And we saw sometimes when we'd Head Shredder and play a Surveil land and end up putting like 15 or 20 lands into play, because we just never hit one of the Vine Lashers or Head Shredders. On the other hand, we also definitely had some games where we get the whole combo set up and we play our Surveil land and we go like 2 cards deep and hit another Head Shredder and everything fizzles and falls apart. So this deck, it's definitely not a good deck. I do think it's a super funny deck, and it really does remind me a ton of Modern Zombie Hunt, which is kind of an iconic budget deck. It's unfortunate that this deck is not very budget friendly. That was always one of the arguments for building Zombie Hunt. You're like, okay, the deck isn't going to win that much, but when it does win, it's going to be really spectacular. It's very repetitive, but you can put it together for like $15. So it's a great like 5th deck to have, and you break it out once every few months to like play a couple funny games with. This deck would be the same, except you need almost $600 of Surveil lands, which is just not very realistic for your like janky play once in a while 5th deck, unless you just already have all those Surveil lands. If you already have playsets of the Surveil lands, you can put this deck together essentially for free and go win 15% of the time at your FNM, but probably get some pretty big high fives when you do finally win a game with the deck. So why isn't the deck super competitive? And there's actually kind of a long list. We got to see a lot of it in our videos. So number 1 is there's inconsistency in the deck. We already talked about that a little bit, but even if we find our Head Shredder, so that's inconsistency number 1, is we got to mulligan until we find a Head Shredder. And then even if we find the Head Shredder and the Vine Lasher, there's still a chance that we just fizzle and hit the wrong cards on the top of our deck and end up not winning the game. So inconsistency is number 1. Number 2, just disruptability. We got to see like we mulligan into Head Shredder and our opponent just goes turn 1 to rest, take your Head Shredder, and we don't cast a spell for the rest of the game. Or we play the Head Shredder and our opponent's like, okay, Paw Patch formation or whatever, Tranquil Frillback, whatever to just kill the Head Shredder, and then it all falls apart. Because if our opponent deals with our Head Shredder or our Vine Lasher, because our deck is 52 Surveil lands, our odds of us finding another one, not exactly very high. So that's number 2. Number 3 is we just don't have any interaction, right? So sometimes we got to see like our opponent reanimate a Valgavoth and we had the entire combo, but our opponent has the Valgavoth, so we can't really surveil because it gets exiled by Valgavoth. So if our opponent does things, we can't really stop them, so we just have to try to out-goldfish them with our 52 Surveil lands. So there's a bunch of reasons why this deck is never going to be like a top-tier deck in Standard, but we definitely did prove that you can win with 52 Surveil lands in Standard. And when it happens, it's super hilarious. And I gotta say, even though we lost a ton, I actually kind of love playing this deck, just because the combo process is so exciting because every time you surveil, there's a chance that you get another surveil land and the chain continues and that leads to you winning the game, or it's the wrong thing and you fizzle and it ends on the spot and everything falls apart. So it's a very exciting deck to play. I would not recommend spending $600 to build this deck. Actually, you know what? On Arena, I would recommend buying all the surveil lands because they're really good anyway and you're going to use them in other decks, but I wouldn't go out and spend all my wild cards just to put this deck together on Arena. But if you already got all the surveil lands, throw it together, see if you can beat my 15% win rate. I think it's possible. I'm also curious if you have any ideas of how to improve this deck. So the challenge is, if we add non-surveil land cards to our deck, we diminish our combo because that gives us more whiffs when we start doing the surveil thing. So we're going to fizzle more often. On the other hand, it felt really weird that we had some games where we head shredder, play a surveil land, put 15 lands into play, and we have 25 mana on the battlefield. And the only thing we can do with it is cast Iridescent Vinelash or Head Shredder. So I wonder if there's some other finisher that we could play to take advantage of just the absurd amount of mana that this deck can put on the battlefield. So if you got suggestions of how we can improve 52 surveil lands, definitely let me know in the comments. Anyway, everyone, that's Better Against the Odds for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed 52 surveil lands in Standard. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.